you're very welcome to the 56th and very unique edition of the Take a Pull podcast, marking the start of the Galway Festival. And for most eagle-eyed, or you probably don't even need to be eagle-eyed viewers, this is the first time where Andy Cummins and Declan Carroll have not came to you for a Take a Pull podcast. Declan Carroll is off enjoying himself on the sunny beaches of Greece, hopefully not getting sunburned, 40 degrees plus there, I think, this week. So Luke Keena, super sub, joins us. We've had Luke on in previous on other podcasts that we've been part of in the past, and he's just one that's he's the perfect super sub, I suppose. Plenty of experience in the industry already, and if you're down at Galway, you'll probably bump into him. So do say hello, Luke. How are you, bud?
All good here. It's big shoes to fill now, Declan. A little bit less hair, don't look like Hosier, and probably don't have as many big winners yet anyway. So we'll try and get a few here this evening. Yeah,
a few diehard fans might know you from the Dundalk circuit. You were a bad man in the winter for picking out a few winners at Dundalk. There's no Dundalk, I don't think, this week. It's obviously Galway dominated, but you're just as good over the sticks and on the flat. So yeah, we'll get stuck into it. Yeah, unbelievably difficult week. I suppose Monday isn't that bad because we only have Galway, but by the time you get to Tuesday onwards, Tuesday to Saturday, Goodwood comes into the equation for anyone that does like a punt. And as we were discussing off air, Luke, it's the week from hell if you're punting. Just be very, very careful. We'll try and lead you in the right direction, but I don't know what sick person came up with Galway and Goodwood in the same week. It's not okay.
No, there's lads sitting in pubs now for the week that are going to either have a great week or it's going to be a very bad week. We'll hopefully steer them in the right direction on a few.
There's been a time where it gets to Thursday or Friday, or sometimes it's just after the Galway hurdle. You'd just be, you'd be picking numbers at this stage because it's just that difficult. Like you have to draw two incredibly unique tracks. Obviously, we'll only be concentrating on Galway, but yeah, it's just beware of this week. It's the only way I can really put it. Look, we've quite a lot of racing to get through today, Luke, so we'll get straight into it. We're covering the Monday and Tuesday of the Galway Festival. Hopefully we'll be back later in the week with some other podcasts as well, with the rest of Galway, but we'll get straight into it. As I said there, Luke, the Galmont Hotel and Galway Bay Hotel Novice Hurdle is what kicks us off on the Monday. Look, it's not a bad field. Obviously we're dealing with 4-year-olds. We're not usually I don't think there's going to be anything in here that's going to equate to last year's winner. I believe it was Mystical Power that won last year, was it?
Yeah, it was indeed.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was this one or the listed, but no, it was this one. So, yeah, definitely a more open race this year. It looks like it's going to be your 5-4 favourite, but it looks like it's going to be Cisco, who's on debut for Willie Mullins. German bred, came from the flat, but is in France, but is German bred, around 5-4. Obviously you're not really going on anything, you're only going on his form in continental Europe. So what would your who would your selection be here, Luke? Obviously Palamon in here with good experience, 4-1, rated 123. Macadamillion probably a little bit off it with his rating of 115, and Feud up the top there has 100-30 for Richard O'Brien. Who's your fancy here?
It'll probably be Palamon. I think they've mixed. You mentioned Macadamillion there. I think they've missed a trick here going for this race and not a handicap. I think he's on a very good mark. He's probably one to keep an eye on next time out. I don't think Willie Mullins will have to be a superstar to win it, but could I back it at 6-5, 5-4? Not really. I know it's Paul Townend's only ride on the day. He's sparsely riding them the first 2 days. I think he only has one ride each day. We'll get to the other one later on for tomorrow's card. Palamon, he's beat a fair level of opposition here last season over hurdles in Cork. Big Trust Your Instinct was second, a very good yardstick, and very highly rated on the flat. I just think Palamon, he's just a solid one here. Nothing is really catching your eye from the rest of them. Like Bright Legend is in there. You'd be disappointed if he was up to beating Palamon and the Willie Mullins horse. As you mentioned, Mystical Power won the race last year on hurdles debut. You could easily see Cisco doing it again, but could it be with him at 6-5? No, I'd probably just be with the Paul Nolan horse.
Right, yeah, Paul Nolan horse, Palamon. Yeah, as I said, rated 1-2-3, finally got his head in front the last day at Cork. Ran okay on the flat, off 79. So you can make the argument he's still progressing even on the flat as well. I would probably stick with the top one, Feud. I do actually like the horse that he beat at Listowel. I think Paul Cashman trained to handle the kettle. I think he's going to win races in the future. Looks like quite a nice horse. Again, it's hard to kind of go on the form. It's not been overly tested. But as I said, I can't back a horse on debut. It's only had one run at a track called, it's one of these country tracks. This is going to really test my vocabulary. North Sir Erdra. I don't even know where that is. It's somewhere in France anyway. Not a well-known track. He's in at a very, very short price. So yeah, I would take Feud here as I think he beat a nice enough horse at Listowel. But again, like, it's probably not a race you want to be getting too heavily into, Luke, but it's probably one of the easier races if you're trying to find a winner on the card, and it gets extremely difficult after this.
Yeah, it gets a lot more difficult going on. But I just seen here, Feud is actually a half brother to Fallen Angel,
right?
1,000 guineas winners as well. Just interesting.
He's by De Bowie. Oh yeah, out of Agnes Stewart. I think Eddie Lynham trained her, maybe.
Yeah,
Lawman mare.
Contrasting careers.
That's Fallen Angel. That's incredible. And he by De Bowie, like kind of, that just shows you pedigrees aren't the be all and end all. I was on here on Top 55 talking, as what Deck said, what the aunties and uncles and grandmothers and grandfathers got up to in those 2-year-old races at Leopardstown. And yeah, sometimes it can be a waste of time because a half sibling to a Guineas winner ends up in a novice hurdle at Galway. But look, Annie Power, who we were talking about, Mystical Power early on, Annie Power was bred to win in Oaks. She just one of the best hurdlers of the last 20 years instead. So they can make a fool of you. We'll move on then, Luke, to the Easyfix handicap hurdle. And this is one of the many occasions where, like, 95 to 109, that's not even that bad a bracket, but some of them get comical as we get later on in the week. Like 102 is a reserve here, 103 gets you in. Like, it's only a £6 spread, but that's actually one of the biggest spreads of the week you're probably going to see at Galway, especially at the lower levels. Really, really difficult. The Banger Doyle, quite an interesting runner here. He's been banging form, to excuse the pun, and he's having a really good time of it. Looked like a bit of a monkey last year. I remember him missing the break a few times at Killarney and a few little bits like that. Look, all the talk is going to be around Malbabe Madness. Obviously, these kind of violet and green colours have been associated with Galway the last few years. Emmett Mullins and Shark Hanlon usually providing the winners. This one is trained by Emma Mullins and ridden by Donna Moyler. 5-2, very, very short for this 4-year-old son of Wings of Eagles, but extremely unexposed. Do you think there's more to come from Malbabe Madness, Luke, or are you looking elsewhere?
I do think there's more to come from him, but I couldn't really back him at the price, saying that he had a quieter run over hurdles the last day when he was favourite. It was a nice little pipe opener for here. Like last year at the festival, did he win? He won twice last year, and he's sure-headed the other time on the flat. Like, they've obviously been working back from here with him, but the markets can see that 7-2 is plenty short. I thought Tankerstown Diva was interesting, but the drop back to 2 miles might just catch her out. I think she's a proper stayer over 2.5 miles. Possibly just didn't see it out at Bellewstown last time out over 2.6. At a wild out price here, I'm going to take a swing at Clonbury Bridge. He won at the festival over course and distance a few years ago. He doesn't mind the ground. It looks like it's going to be decent ground. Like, you can excuse his last 2 runs, but especially the second last one at Punchestown, that was a decent race when he won the qualifier down in Cork, and he scraped into that race at Punchestown. But he looked bang back to form in Cork, like, and he's back down to his last mark day. One off here, 105. I think 40-1 here is a bit big. Danny Gilligan was the story of the festival last year. I think he could get a nice tune out of Philip Dempsey's horse here.
All right, 40-1, Poke. That's quite, like, you're doing what Deck does anyway. You're tipping up the big price one, so you're doing well so far, Luke. You just had to find a winner or two first. I'll take a chance on Golden Sandbanks at 14-1. I could have done with him not getting raised £3 for finishing a close enough second at Sligo last time out, but it was a return to form, and he does have course form, albeit on the flat at Galway as well. Better ground definitely going to suit him too. I just think that maybe again, like, sometimes it's not necessarily the form horses that do come to the fore, but I do think this horse is pretty ground dependent. Like, he has won on soft on the flat in the past, but I always think flat soft and National Hunt soft are two completely different things, especially when you take weight into equation. So the better ground that he's going to encounter here on Monday, I think, is going to really suit him. I think he's a fair enough chance around 14, 16 to 1. And just looking at Malbay Madness here, a long distance third to feud when beaten 5 to 4 favourite the last day. But I suppose you can kind of raise your eyebrow at getting beaten favourite the last day, maybe with a view to this possibly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, switching discipline now, Luke, to the an EBF maiden that's on the card over 7 furlongs. This is for the 2-year-olds, and it is the first race on the level of the Galway Festival. Again, not a whole lot to go on. Obviously, we're dealing with 2-year-olds, so very, very limited form. Your favourite at even money is the Dermot Well-trained Truth Be Told, who's by 2 Darn Hot out of Princess Highway. Fantastic race mare, Princess Highway, from a very, very rich very, very rich Moiglair family. She wasn't beaten far when there was a few whispers going around for her actually on the day. She wasn't beaten far by Swagman at Nace, and Swagman ran quite well in the Tyrus on Thursday. Was on kind of pacemaking duties, and he probably ran a lot better than the finishing position suggests. Even money, very, very short, but he has been punted off the boards. I think he was a little bit bigger prior to recording. Rocket Cashel, obviously by Wooden Bassett out of Best in the World. Best in the World, I think, is a full sister to Found. So very high quality pedigree there, but he'd want to leave his 8th a long way behind from his debut. And then Admiral Churchill for Paddy Toomey, son of Kodiak, who was an expensive enough breeze up. Ran okay behind Beckman, beaten favourite that day, but would want to improve. The fact that he was favourite might mean there was more expected. But Luke, who do you fancy here for the 2-year-old maiden?
We took a chance on one in the last race. I don't think we're going to be taking any chances here. Dermot Weld in the maiden at Galway. He's won 10 of the last. He's won 10 of this race, 10 times in this race since 2002. He had Grey Swallow win this. I thought he did a nice introduction at Nace behind Swagman, and Viking Invasion was just ahead of him on that day. He missed a break, made up some nice late ground, still showed signs of greenness. Obviously, well loves to target these maidens. I'd imagine he wasn't too disappointed to see him not get his head in front the last day. He'll have learned plenty from that. I just see him being hard to beat here. Like Rocket Cash, as you said, I thought he was a bit disappointed now from what the market suggested. He would have overperformed what he done to be beaten over 8 lengths. It didn't look the best of maidens at the time. And there's nothing else really in there that's kind of catching the eye, like Viking Invasion's in there, but you'd expect Truth Be Told to turn that form around fairly convincingly now. Yeah. So I'd probably just do it the Wild Horse. Yeah,
like I think the last top 2-year-old I think he unleashed at the Galway Festival, I think, was Tahira, which was 2 years ago. So like he does usually unleash a good one at this time of year, and they're usually in pretty well known silk. So yeah, Truth Be Told, whispers for him the last day, ran very green, hit the line well. Look, I think he's going to come on for that run. Do you want to get involved at even money in a 2-year-old maiden? Look, there's every chance Rocket Cashel leaves that run miles behind, and Paddy Toomey's was well backed. Admiral Churchill too on debut, but yeah, I think they do. Truth Be Told, what he achieved on debut, despite being quite inexperienced, was definitely trumps what Rocket Cashel and Admiral Churchill did. So yeah, I'd be with the Wild Colt myself. As we move on to the 640, then Luke, the Clayton Hotel Galway handicap. You staying around the Clayton while you're over working, or have you?
No, staying somewhere else. We're staying somewhere else there for the week.
I wonder how
much. Good time in here.
I wonder how much the Clayton is this week.
Mental, I'd say.
It'd be an interesting one. So, look, there's a lot of things that are not certainties this week, but the biggest certainty of the week is that if you have a horse rated 50 and you entered it in the Clayton Hotel Galway hurdle or Galway handicap, when it's 50 to 80, you're not getting a run off 50. Comfortable certainty in this day and age with the compressed weights. But this one, to be honest, Luke, it's not actually too bad. I think 72. So it's actually, there's not even a horse rated 80, unbelievably enough. So a £7 spread, probably again one of the bigger spreads. This is another tough outlet though. This is, I think we're 7-2 to field. Avatar Jet, who was a good winner 2 weeks ago at Killarney. I think he's going to head the market here. But again, very, very tough. And you're dealing with 3-year-olds. Any of these could improve really at any time as well. A lot of these still quite unexposed. Who's your fancy here?
I'm with Avatar Jet. He's around 9 to 2 there. I'd be happy enough to take that. He's probably one of my stronger ones on the day. He really looked
Right.
to have
Okay.
turned the corner at Killarney the last day when he's well found in the market. And I quite like that the horse that finished second that day with Kevin Prendergast. He betted snugly. I know he got a nice run up the inside on the rail, but I thought £6 for that. I'd be surprised if he wasn't able to build on that and potentially be a bracket above these. You've Enchanted Garden, who's going to probably be top the market. I'd be surprised if Cuban Confusion didn't get a lot closer now. He had a troubled passage in Leopardstown the last day. Just things didn't go right for Cuban Confusion. Good £10 claimer on board. He had his first winner last week, I think it was, at Leopardstown. He had his first winner anyway in the last week. I thought if he got a clear run, he'd definitely turn the form around with Enchanted Garden. But yeah, it will be Avatar Jeff for me, who hopefully get Mark Fahey off the board.
Very good. Yeah, Avatar Jet. My only slight worry about Avatar Jet would be he did come from midfield at Killarney and he was a snug winner. But if you're planning on coming from midfield at Galway from stall 1, in a race with 15 runners, obviously, you could have obviously some reserves too. But stall 1 is going to be stall 1 end of the day. Okay, if they could go a bit more forward with him, but you could be worried that he might find some trouble in running, or are you okay with that?
Oh, for sure. Like stall 1, like everyone gives out about is worried about wide draws at Galway, but it guarantees you a clear passage sometimes. And in Galway, they seem to go a good gallop. Just hope that something goes up the road here and spreads them out early. I haven't seen anything that's screaming out, but someone might have a change of tactics. Artful approaches in there, like he's just consistent, but whether he's up to winning off his mark is just another question.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Artful Approach this season, and I thought I was home and dry at Leopardstown a few weeks ago, and he just did not. He didn't see out that mile. I think he could be the one to go forward. It's officially soft ground, so this will be kind of new to him, but I think it's drying out all the time. I think he'd be my tentative selection. I do think he's consistent. The 7 furlongs around Galway, and as you said there, Luke, I had my idea of. You kind of took the words out of my mouth. I could just see them punching him out and trying to make all, and doing that in a 15 runner handicap at the Galway Festival is very, very difficult to do because there's almost going to be a serious pace on. But I think he's going to be a strong stayer over 7, especially around here, and the horse is honest. He does give generously, and it could be a sweaty last half furlong, but I'd expect him to maybe boot it out and try and make all the run, and whether he's good enough to do that off his mark is another thing. But I think he's good place claims at around 11 or 12 to 1 there, so he would be my pick.
He has a draw for a 2 stall 4.
Stall 4, yeah, and he's not bad from the stalls either. So it's just what's his trip is the big question. Like, yeah, I think 7 furlongs around Galway. I think if you're going to run him, if you're going to race prominently somewhere like Galway or Fairyhouse or somewhere like that, or 7 furlongs, I think that's what he wants. Around a bend, make all the run and just get him out there. And I think that's what they're going to do with him. So, it'd be tentatively Artful Approach for me, who was in the top tracker from a good few weeks ago. But hopefully he makes amends here. On to the 7:10, the main event of the Monday, the Connacht Hotel Qualified Riders Handicap. 70 to 100 is the bracket here. Again, the bracket's completely irrelevant. Look, it's great to see a good few English horses having a try this week at Galway. The first of which is Metier, obviously a former
Chester Cup.
I'm trying to think of the Grade 1 hurdle at Sandown that he won. For the novices. Why is it gone completely out of my head? They switched it to Aintree this year. For some godforsaken reason, the Tolworth hurdle, a Tolworth hurdle winner, I'm pretty sure as well. Chester Cup, brilliant horse. Anya O'Connor taking the ride. He would have to have a very, very good chance, whether he's handicapped well enough to win a race like this and carry 12 stone 2 is another question. Sheen O'Gella, a horse I've always liked as well, been plying his trade over hurdles in recent times. Has very closely related to the likes of Swamp Fox and a couple of others that were good for the Joe Murphy yard too. Still hasn't won over hurdles, but has been running well. And then a few others that you have to take note of. Shajak, obviously in the JP McManus Silks. Anything in here, Luke, that you're big on? This is obviously one of the tougher races of the week. Teed Up is probably one that's probably gonna get all of the eyes again. The Son of Glen Eagles, who did so well at the Galway Festival last year. I think he won twice. out of 3 runs, and he's probably going to be your favourite here. But do you like him, or do you like something else?
His runs this year have been a slight bit underwhelming, but whether that's just working back from here, there are stepping stones. That's another thing. He's obviously been targeted at the race. You've Alphonse Legrand in here, won the Northumberland phase at Newcastle. Was the phase he won. So he's going for a 4-timer here. It's just whether the handicappers caught up with him. Enniskerry ran a cracker at Ballystown the last day after missing the break. That was a decent race now. He missed the break. He made up lots of ground. He just kind of got collared late on. But you actually mentioned the one I fancy here, Sean Ella. He's down to a mark of 93. Won at the festival 2 years ago off 94.
Sluiced up as well, didn't he? It
Yeah.
was the mile and a half handicap, yeah.
And he hit the front last year in the same race, I think, and he just got collared late on. It was better than his finishing position suggested. I thought at 20-1 here, he's a big price. David Doyle takes off £7. He's just stalled 2. He's going to hunt away. I think there's a bit more improvement in him over the 2 miles. He's untested over these staying trips, really. He's only had a handful of runs. I think they've kind of had an eye on this with his last few runs over hurdles. They've just been protecting this mark, and they've been good runs. So he's going to be plenty fit here, and I think this 2 miles will suit him. He's a big price, I think.
He is a big price. He definitely caught my eye. As I said, Swamp Fox, Nappers Hill, Wren's Girl as well. Like, it's a good pedigree, and it's one that doesn't tend to, as they get older, even though he's a 7-year-old, like, I wouldn't be expecting him to be regressing in any way. And as you said, like, he clearly likes Galway, so you would have to stand up and take note of Shinakella. He definitely has a super chance. The one I came down on is towards the bottom there, 25 to 1 shot. I think he was a bit bigger during the week, and I think you could get a bit bigger than 25 to 1. I'm going to double check that now. No, 33s, 25s, fair enough. Baltic Bird for Bill Durkin is the horse. Yeah, down there towards the bottom, number 16. Coming out of stall 3. I think this horse needs decent ground. It is officially soft ground, but as we said, it's drying up all the time. I thought it was quite an interesting run at Fairyhouse last time out. He's only beaten about 2 lengths or so and staying on over 1.6 miles. It was a small enough field. I just think that was a quite a nice prep for this race. I did actually like him in the race last year. They took him out due to the unsuitable heavy ground. And he did win next time out, albeit over hurdles. He won quite easily at Cork. So, look, he's mixed it with decent horses when trained by John Gosden on the flat in the UK. And look, he probably hasn't hit those heights for Bill Durkin, but he hasn't necessarily been a bad horse. Like, he's still rated 84. He's a mark of 127 over hurdles. Won over hurdles as late as last May. And has ran fine in 2 handicaps back on the flat. And I would just expect a nice run. I'd expect a nice run from him down there at a big price. As long as the ground keeps drying out from it, would be Baltic Bird for me. And Sheenock Ella, I'll probably have a little bit as well, based on what you said as well, Luke. I think they're 2 nice outsiders to be bringing into the QR race. Anything else before we go to 7:45?
No, I think it's quite interesting. Like, we've lots of Joy is going to try and get a bit more joy than she's had the last 2 years. Obviously,
she's been drawn out in the car park again.
Yeah, and Patrick's kept the faith with her. I don't know what's that Spasiba. It's not much in that, but yeah, like, Patrick's kept the faith with her. Obviously, she had a good run at the Curragh the last day in the Premier Handicap over 1.5 miles. She finished behind Star Harbour. It's a decent race. That it's just, you'd like to think that there's something in there that's a bit better than her.
Yeah,
she couldn't do it the last 2 years. Like, you've teed up in there, and Franchise brings in a bit of listed form from Goran. That was a good win. She bet Toomey's horse that day, wasn't it? Countess of Tyrone. Sure, just end on that.
On the Tyrone, yeah, fair enough. Yes, no, look, it is an interesting enough heat, and I do remember with a lot of joy they punted the ears off her for the British Cesarewitch, didn't they?
Yeah.
So Jenny
they did the first year she ran in this too, and I don't think Patrick rode her either.
I don't know. She won. Obviously, they're dealing with a very well handicapped horse in Eccles and Rain that year. But again, she's just been, I think, is she in 16 this time? Or she's in 20. She was in 16 last year. I think she was in 23 the first year. They just can't get a good draw for it. Now, in fairness, this race has been won by wide draws, I think, the last 2 years. So, but I think the ground was a lot more testing. As the ground is a little bit better, you're going to be wanting definitely a lower number. in my opinion anyway. Onto the 7:45, Luke. The Gra Chocolates handicap, 60 to 90, and again, forget about it if you're rated 60. 88 being the top weight, although this is one of the bigger spreads of the week in terms of the lower grade. Cruden in here topping the weights at 6 to 1. Your favourite is probably going to be oh god, why do bloody Anne-Marie with these mad names? Euphysis, I'm going to go with. For Aidan O'Brien. Just shy of 4 to 1 there, and then Naturally Nimble around the same price for Joseph O'Brien. Ballymore colours there. Anything you fancy here, Luke? This is again very, very tough 3-year-old handicap, but there is one I like, but I think you had an eye on it too, so go on.
Yeah, that was more your work now. I'll let you explain that one. The one I was more kind of focusing on was the Gerlines horse, Himalayan Heights. We bumped into some good horses in his first 3 runs in maidens, like Highbury, Birdman, the Equator, all solid listed class horses. If like Highbury is probably going to be a big hope for the Ledger, and Birdman was probably a bit disappointed at Ascot, but he's better than that. Himalayan Heights, now they didn't take any prisoners the last day. Tipperary like booted him out in front, and 3 furlongs out, Colin said, right, come catch me if you can. And nothing got into the race. I think Donnacha had the favourite that day. It was 1-2 favourite and just took everything out of its comfort zone early. Strong stayer at the trip, which you need to be over 1.5 miles at Galway. I thought his rating at 85. I thought there's a bit of leeway in that, considering what he done the last day and who he's bumped into early in his career. I think he's still progressing, and they have the key to him now. They know he's a strong stayer. I'd imagine Colin's going to boot out a stall 12 here and try to do the same again. I think around 6 to 1, he's fair price.
Yeah, obviously, Son of Camelot at this trip, 1.5 miles. Like it's going to be a strong stayer as what you would have thought. Quite an interesting runner in there off 85. The one I quite liked was Castle Heath, who's down in there off 9 stone 3 for Ben Cohen riding for Kieran Murphy. Quite an eye-catching 6th on debut on 100 to 1. Kind of wandered all over the place. Was very, very green behind Unavoidable. Was only 2 lengths behind Cruden that day, and Cruden obviously went on to win his maiden. He's in here rated 88. Castle Heath went on to win at Sligo. Just got up in the kind of depths of the line, suggesting that 1 mile, and he just held on really the depths of the line. But you would have thought that 1.5 miles would be absolutely no problem to him. A few horses that he's in here with, as I said, the Jesse Harrington horse in particular, Cruden, has to carry 88. Only 2 lengths between them, or not even barely 2 lengths between them the first day at Navan. But Castle Heath carrying rate running off 77 here, I think is he seems to be bled in a little bit lightly. I think Brosna Town was obviously behind as well, who I believe reopposes in here too for Dermot Weld. So it's quite an interesting mark of 77. Both those horses that he's ran either beat or ran very, very close to, have to give him considerably extra weight here. And I just think he looks quite well handicapped off 77. He'd be one of my better bets on the Monday card now, Castle Heath at that price, around 14, 16 to 1. And hopefully Colin can bring him into it with a bit of luck, and maybe we get the 1-2 on that one, Luke. Who knows? Yeah,
that's the aim anyway. The forecast that'll pay nicely now, 16 to 1, and
that would pay lovely. That would pay lovely. On to the final race, Luke. I'm not going to lie to you, this is not a race I paid too much attention to. The Monami construction bumper. Anything you like here?
I'll be honest with you, I hate bumpers, and I haven't even looked at this now. Just back Willie's in the bumpers.
Willie's in the bumper, 6 to 5, easy. Cause for comment.
Bumpers just aren't my thing now, to be honest.
Yeah, no.
There's no point in pretending it.
Yeah, no, it's not. They're not my thing either. I think. Well, look, I don't mind these type of bumpers. At least they're for 4-year-olds. They're quite, they're unraced horses for the most part. They're not having careers in bumpers, so that's fine by me. We'll move straight on then, Luke, to Tuesday, and it's Colm Quinn that kind of takes centre stage for the Tuesday. He sponsors nearly every race on the card. Fair play to him. The Colm Quinn BMW Novice Hurdle of listed status is the first race on the card, over 2 miles. 3 to 1 instant tendence, but your favourite is probably going to be Goucher, who's around, I think, 11 to 10 even money at the moment. Son of Frankel, Willie Mullins, Paul Townend. You did mention Jungle Cove, the good old, consistent, admirable Jungle Cove, with a legend of a horse. You think he's going to run well here at a double figure price, Luke, yeah?
Admiral Rogue, I'd go with.
Admiral, yeah, fair enough.
He completely lost his way like on the flat, and he turned up in his maiden hurdle, and like it was just a return to form. Like he didn't exactly have to pull up trees now to win it. Ballin Road maiden hurdle, but I just thought here he's 12-1. If the dead eight's dead in, I thought he'd be a play each way. Like Gouger, how could you back him at even money? Like I know some people would think that's just buying money, but it wouldn't be for me. Like what he done the maiden hurdle last day, yes, it was impressive, but could you back him on the back of it at even money? This listed race, it wouldn't be for me. Gavin Cromwell has a nice horse in here. Whether it's up to this or not, I don't know. Like it was very impressive beating Irish Panther, who's a good yardstick, very good in bumpers without probably just reaching the heights. You have Henry's horse in here, who I'm not even going to try and pronounce.
Lecoq Hardy. That is that's an interesting.
How did that slip through?
That is an interesting one. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a
they
funny
must
one.
Have the French lads on with them having a look at that one. They're like, yeah.
I don't know how they got away with that one. That is like I thought he must have came from France. Nope. ran in a Ballycahane point.
I'd love that to be in a tight finish here with instant tendons or something. Gouger and Lecoq Hardy. Commentator roaring, it'd be great. For as long as Jungle Cove is 2 lengths in front of him and that's the scrap for second.
Yeah.
But like at 12-1, like Jungle Cove, he's only 7, he's a master craftsman, he won't mind the ground. I just thought if I was to have a stab in this race, it'd be very small each way in him.
Right, and then there's obviously you were mentioning there Gavin Cromwell's La Gaspardo, who facile enough winner at Killarney the last day, looked like almost a different horse.
Remember it was betting for more by a decent yard.
Yeah, by Touch Me Not, who was could we have Touch Me Not in Lecoq Hardy in a photo? That would be it.
That would be it. No, that was the dream scenario.
That's it. Right, make it happen. That obviously Touch Me Not, probably a nice enough horse. All right, I would take a chance on El Gasparo. 6-1 is fine by me. As I said, Goucher, as I said, I don't know, even money wouldn't be for me. Jungle Cove, great to see him back to form. As I said, admirably consistently lovable, I suppose is the best way to put it. He did lose his way. He was a great 3-4-year-old. I think he was a good old horse for Jesse, and it's great to see him back to form, but I think this might be a bridge too far from, but we will see. Bial Gasparo for me tentatively. The Tuesday I think is actually one of the toughest days, even though there's no plate or hurdle, but you do have the mile, and you do have the first chase of the week, the Latin Quarter Beginners Chase. There's one I do quite fancy in here actually, and it is the second favourite, the Company Sergeant. I think they've been kind of working back from this with a view to just winning over fences at the Galway Festival. I think your favourite is going to be Jet Setting Jim, who fell last time out, but he was obviously you could probably make an argument he was going to win a Tipperary when he fell at the last, and then obviously he comes in here 11-10. I don't know if you'd want to back a faller at that price in the beginners next time out, but that's just me. So it'll be the Company Sergeant for me. I thought he had lovely form as a novice last year, especially in the second half of the season, and I was hoping to see him in that novice handicap chase at Punchestown, the big one. They just didn't run him. I don't know if he picked up a little knock, but he's been slightly disappointing the last twice, but I think you're gonna see a better horse here on Tuesday. Who do you like, Luke?
I thought there wasn't a great standard set by the ones that have ran over fences. Obviously you mentioned the Company Sergeant and Jet Setting Jim, who ran in the same race the last time, and Jet Setting Jim, look, I thought he was going to win now when he came down to the last.
Yeah.
But the winner of that race hasn't exactly set the form of light now. It came out next time out and was bet comprehensively. I just thought if Merlin Giant takes to it, like, I know he's just going to Camelot here. If he takes the fences and he can run anywhere near his hurdles mark, like, I think he'd take a bit of beating here. Obviously, he won a Fairyhouse last year at the Hampton's Grace meeting, the handicap hurdle. It's a bloodless win. He has his rating of 135. He hasn't been seen since the Kerr last year, which would be a slight concern, and he's running on the flat. But yeah, I just think like he won his maiden hurdle here, and I thought maybe he might win his beginner's chase here too.
A load of duck eggs straight back to Galway for the beginners.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how it's done in those colours anyway. Yeah, no, I was just expecting maybe the company sergeant to come on for that. I know Jet Setting Jim is a lot less experience and did look the winner, but I just have a feeling that maybe given connections, maybe a winner at the Galway Festival is what they were looking for with the company sergeant.
He's plenty short now, Jet Setting Jim.
He is. He's very, very short. And some of the form that the company sergeant had in the book, like getting beaten by Spallan's Tower by only 6 lengths in the Powers Gold Cup at Ferryhouse, that's standout form in any beginner's chase, in my opinion. Maybe until you get to, I don't know, November, December time. And look, maybe it's the ground. Maybe he doesn't want decent ground, which could be his ailment. But if he does rediscover that form that he showed at Ferryhouse, I think he's definitely the one to beat. He just needs to rediscover it, and if he does, I think he's a great chance there. So on to the 6 o'clock, the fillies maiden that Colm Quinn fancies that he sponsors, and this is, I believe, the race that we saw Tahira debut in. I think we've seen some serious horses. I think Legatissimo might have won this. Not Alpha Centauri, her other half sister. That was, I think she won Group 1s as well. Maybe Alpha Centauri did win this. I don't know. She was out earlier. Her half sister did. Alpine Star, I think, might have won this. So some serious fillies can definitely rock up here. And the one that's been backed off the boards is Lady Myron, the daughter of the Bowie, trained by Paddy Toomey. Obviously, Marazian for Jessica Harrington in here too. Would has to be taken of respect, and bubbling too for Aidan O'Brien. Who's your fancy here, Luke?
There's a few whispers going around for this one or two Toomey's here, and
really?
I probably wouldn't ignore them, to be honest. You won the race last year with Purple Lily first time up. Like, obviously you're not going on much here, it's just a few rumours going around. But like, the form isn't exactly set alight with the two at the top of the market, with Bubbling fourth and Harrington's horse Marazian finishing 6th. Like, you're expecting something decent to come out and win these maidens, because as you said, like, some of the history in it, like Tahira 2 years ago, like Legatissimo in 14. Like, I don't know, I just thought Toomey's horse was the one to be with. There's nothing in it really. Like, she's just daughter Dubawi out of Chicago dancer. She's drawn 12, which could be a slight issue, and greenness, of course. If you're to push me, I'd just go with her, but I wouldn't really be getting involved in this.
Right, okay. Well, the one horse that I will just point people to, and it's probably going to be next time out, because I tipped her on the last take a pull, and she was withdrawn due to a temperature, and I think she might have actually gone very close in that maiden at Leopardstown. Myconian Odyssey, she's in here 50-1. Really like eye-catching and good run behind Bedtime Story on debut at Leopardstown. I don't know what happened at the Curragh. She just did not follow up. She went off 200-1 at Leopardstown, ran really well. 40-1 the next day at the Curragh. They jumped her out of the gates and tried to run prominently. Got nowhere near Lake Victoria, and I think it was Red Letter. It was very, very high quality maiden. 2 high quality maidens she's ran in. This is going to probably be a slightly easier maiden, but not much easier. As we said, there's quite a nice roll of honour, and there's a chance that, as Luke said, with rumours going around for Lady Myron. But if Myconian Odyssey, if she can have one more run here in a top quality maiden, she could leave herself with a very, very attractive handicap mark, and I think she will take advantage of it. She's a filly that definitely possesses talent. I would just say keep an eye on her. She might even run well in this race. Whether she's good enough to maybe nick a place, if she improves on her Leopardstown run, can leave her Curragh run behind, she absolutely could run into a place, but she would be hard to trust, and maybe is one for handicaps. But do keep an eye on Myconian Odyssey. Moving on then, Luke, to the 6:40, as we're nearly there, the Caulfield Industrial Irish EBF maiden. So another one. Must be, it's at this point the Tuesdays are tough. You just get these random maidens. This is for 3-year-olds, so this is one of the weaker races of the whole week, really. 3-year-old maiden at this time of year. We have No Knee Never, who's rated 76 for Joseph O'Brien. He's in here at 9-4, so you're not going to be dealing with a lot of world beaters. Is it as simple as Weldon the maiden here with Yax Chilan here, Luke? Fourth, first time out. Tongue tie goes on, 6-4 chance.
Rinse and repeat the formula. Weldon the maiden. She ran a good race first time up. Finished fourth. She showed a bit of greenness. And as you're saying, like, this race isn't exactly setting you light now with Noni Never in there at 76 and Lucky out. Thomas Munn's horse there and off 72. Like, it's not exactly inspiring stuff. She got behind early in Navan, ran on well. And just seeing here, she's down as an eye catch in the race and posted. Did they have their other eye on Galway for maiden?
Yeah, the tongue tie on 6-4. That's where I'd be leaning to. It's nothing special, but 6-4. I think she'll take a lot of the beating. 7 furlongs. Yeah.
You'll happily take a few 6-4 winners now this week.
At this stage, yeah, you could be just taking it and you can get by the stage. We get this far in on Tuesday. Goodwood, the first day Goodwood's probably just ended. You're already, more than halfway through the card on your second day at Galway. This is where you'd be looking at a 6-4 winner and just be like, get me on the board, please.
Yeah. Need something to dig me out.
Yeah. Get something to stick in a cheeky double with the Colm Quinn BMW mile handicap. As we were talking off air here, Luke, not as many Ado McGuinness runners. A lot of them just did not make the ballot this year. Obviously not high enough to get in, which is a pity because it's always a race that he has. He's targeted quite a lot. This song is for you. Looks like it's going to be your 9-2 favourite in those colours again. Emmett Mullins, Chris Hayes riding the Me family, I think it is. So, look, last behind Timaride on seasonal reappearance, but wasn't actually beaten that far, and all eyes are now onto this race. 9-2. Quite an interesting enough runner. Plum Noir, who's been in good form this year, daughter of Harzan, she's 6-1. Current option in Casanova do sneak into the race for Ado McGuinness, and Aidan O'Brien throwing a dart with Old Faithful as well. Who do you like here, Luke?
I'd be siding with Casanova here. He's just very consistent. He can find it hard to win, but I think he's going to get his ideal conditions here. Slow sided good. He ran well in the Nasrullah at Leopardstown the last day. Finished fourth, staying on well. Like, he sees out this mile well. He's won twice at Galway. It wasn't at the festival meeting, but in September meeting, he's down to 87. Like, he's won off 91. That was one of those runs at Galway. It's a very competitive field. Like, as you said, like, a few of the horses that usual stalwarts in the field, all of a sudden they're not high enough to get in here.
Yeah.
Corridor, last year's winner, is top in there. 9-11 on his back. James Ryan taking £5 off. You couldn't not fancy that one to go well. Ran well first time up, a very eye-catching run over 6 furlongs at the Curragh, I think it was. He was very eye-catching. Went over to Ascot, didn't get the rub of the green. Ran well to be 6th. Things just, you can put a line through that last run. It was too bad to be true. You wouldn't be surprised to see him go back to back in the race, and obviously we've seen that done a few years ago with Saltonstall in 19 and 20.
Yeah.
He might just be a bit better than these and be able to carry near enough top weight with £5 off. The top weight is actually very interesting here. Toomey's horse has come from out Eastern European. He's out in Jebel Ali, Maiden.
Came from Abin Harmash. Okay. How do you handicap that?
Yeah, like, has he just thrown a dart at the wall and just said 103? Like, is that where just the pin landed? I don't know how you handicap him. Like, he's in there 20-1. You could probably see a bit of money around for him tomorrow if they fancy him. But yeah, Casanova, I thought he's probably the one. He was second in the race 2 years ago, and he just bumped into one of Brian Duffy's Magic Chicago. And Brian obviously has Plum Noir in here. It's interesting that Colin has stuck with that one instead of riding the horse that won the Nasrullah the last day. Which name escapes me. Lady Lunette. Yeah.
Stall 18 maybe. Kind of put him off, possibly.
Well, he's last year when Colin won it on Brian Duffy's, he stalled 19. Like, the last 4 winners have come from 15, 19, 17, 12, 14, 18. It's been a race. Like, the mile start isn't actually bad, and they usually go a good clip in this race, which gives them a chance to get in early. Like, the last few years, I think we've had Spanish Tenor going up the road at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it really just had the field. And the funny thing was, he'd nearly hold on to.
Yeah, if the race was 7.5 furlongs, he'd probably won 2 of them.
Yeah, and the 2 3-year-olds are fairly interesting. And Jesse's horse, Norwalk Havoc, coming down in grade, ran well the last day behind Lord Masseuse's. Could he be a graded horse in the handicap? He obviously has a little bit more improving to do, I think, but you could see him running well. And Old Faithful, he looks like a tricky ride. You kind of need to nail him on the line. You can't really use your stick on him. Ryan was very good on him to win twice. Oh, the second time, especially in Navan. I think it's a decent little race this year, and I'd just be with Casanova.
Right, I'd probably be with Plum Noir. As you said, last year's winning trainer, Colm Quinn rides. She is in fantastic form, 6-year-old mare. I've always kind of liked her, but I've never actually backed her. But I think it's going to get to. She's been kind of one of them. I've never actually backed against her. It's just I've always kind of. I do like the Harzand, even though it's a mile. I do like those kind of. It's quite a. I mean, she's a late mature, and she's. You could probably make an argument she's in the form of her life now. Probably unlucky to not get up. The trip was probably just that little bit too short at the Curragh last time. She's in great form, as I said. Colm Quinn rides, and I think she has a pretty good chance. Plum Noir. So Plum Noir and Casanova there for Tuesday's main event. We're nearly there, Luke. So you'll be able to send you home quite soon. The CaulfieldIndustrial.com handicap is next. Another 50 to 80. Another time where absolute pointless rating putting on the race. As we have a £6 spread here. So who's your fancy here, Luke? This is one of the probably tougher handicaps, even though we just had the mile. This is, this doesn't get much easier. We're dealing with kind of older handicappers now. A lot of them very, very exposed. And speaking of Spanish tenor, he is in here, but he is the first reserved.
Yeah.
He is the first reserve. So if Shoot to Kill is withdrawn and Spanish tenor gets the run, we all know what's on. So,
wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, or even Volatile Analyst, albeit Jack Davis in training, it is in the same ownership. So that could be another big clue. But who do you like here?
Yeah, they're all with Jack Davison now, all them Shamrock
Oh, are they?
horses.
So, Jenny Mack. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, they actually are. So, yeah, if Jack Davison withdraws one of his, we know them.
I'd be hoping Spanish. It's actually funny, like we're mentioning about Spanish tenor in the mile, like in this year. It's nowhere near even getting into the race. Like he's 13 pounds off bottom weight in the mile there. But anyway, I'd be hoping he doesn't get in, because the one I like is going to be Brains. Stall 11 be a slight concern. He bounced out in Roscommon 2 runs ago and won well. He needs to be out in front early. If this lad isn't in front, it's game over. But we have the likes of Red Heel in here too. It's likely to go forward, but Red Heel's in 18, so hopefully Brains can get across to the rail in front. I think he still has a bit left in his mark there off 79. He stiffs back down into this grade. 7 furlongs is his trip. Ignore all his runs over a mile. He just does not get home. Back down to 7 furlongs. It was 7.5 furlongs in Roscommon when he won, but he got an easy time of it in front and slipped him on the bend. Stiff 7 should be his ideal, I think, and I think this lad is the one each way.
All right, okay. I'm going to go with the Raider. Well, it's not really a Raider. It's Richard Fahey and Oisin Orr, but he is trained in the UK now. Is Ride? I'm going to go with an Irish Reid, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll be pronounced correctly on the track. Winner last time out at Thirsk, beating Queen's Road Review. So up £10 for that though. But look, it was a very, very facile and easy win. Yeah, it was off 10 stone 4. Carries 10 stone here. Look, I just think he could be a very, very progressive horse. Going on what's happened this year at the Curragh as well, it's been more at group level and listed level, but British horses coming over have just been having their way with Irish horses over here. Like the state of the flat in Ireland, we probably don't want to admit it, especially on this podcast. It's ripe for the taking here now for British Raiders, and I think you might see it here at a lower level. And if they start coming over, God help us, because it could be getting to the stage where you could nearly have a Prestbury Cup style competition at Irish Champions Weekend if they really wanted to. They like the likes of Richard Fahey, Rave Beckett, William Haggis. Like the prize money's good enough for them just to carpet bomb Irish Champions Weekend with handicappers and group performers, and they would take a lot of the prizes. And this is maybe an example of a horse that is ahead of the handicapper, albeit he's gotten £10. Ground is going to be a little bit slower than ideal, possibly, but it's not. I wouldn't put it down as a hindrance to him. It was just very quick at Thirsk, and I think he's got a fantastic chance. And I'd beware, because if Richard Fahey gets used to coming over for these type of festivals for 10 grand races, who's to say he won't do it at the likes of Listowel? He will definitely do it at Irish Champions Weekend. He's done it numerous times in the past. So it's great. It makes the races a bit more competitive, but I think he's got a fantastic chance of looting some prize money here with Ryan. So on to the final race of the Tuesday, Luke. We're nearly there. The Caulfield Industrial Handicap again. It's a 50 to 70 this time. It's a mile and change. Well, a mile and half a furlong. Not the easiest again, really. We've got a full field here of 18 plus your reserves, and Aidan McGuinness with the reserve system, he must be beating his head against the wall as Sir Jack Thomas here, the top reserve, and a former Galway winner in here as well as a first reserve. Who do you fancy here?
I'd love to see one of these be withdrawn, but anyway, if Sir Jack was to sneak in, like, he's returned back to form his last 2 runs, won at Dundalk and was second there last week. He got £2 for that second. He's bet 3/4 of a length. I'd say he would love to get 3 now, and I would have just snuck him in at the bottom. But anyway, on the slower, if the ground is slower, I'd be with Speckled Meadow here. She's won over the course a few years ago. She returned to form this year. First time up, winning on heavy ground at Leopardstown off 60. She won easy that day. First time up, and things didn't happen for Leopardstown the next day. The ground was too fast. She ran well at Tipperary last day. I thought she didn't get the best of rides out last day. She probably should have won. She's bet 3/4 of a length. I'd be hoping she'd be in around a double figure price here, especially if she gets around here. I thought she would be the 1 stall 6, bounce out, say handy, and hopefully pick them up the hill.
Very good. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, Speckled Meadow. I remember you giving me a tip for that, and I think I backed the wrong horse in that race when she won at Leopardstown. I got back the wrong one. I thought Miss Abby Gilles was quite interesting. Is that the same Sean Davis that was used to ride for the likes of Ger Lyons? And I think he rode in the UK. I thought he was like consigning horses for breeze ups now. I don't know if it's the same Sean Davis or
it is. Yeah, he trains a few himself now.
Yeah, and he's riding for Charles Burns there, is he?
Yeah, he rides a few for Charles.
All right, interesting. Yeah. Look, was never ever put in the race at Tipperary last time, and you can kind of say the same at Limerick. But you don't have to go back too far when he was beating Breezy's off over a mile, or when she was beating Breezy's off over a mile at Limerick. They've got her back down to that competitive mark now from June of last year. And it wouldn't surprise me now if she, maybe she just caught a bit of form as we come into Galway. Wouldn't be like Charles Burns to do something like that. So I'd have a tentative pick on her if my day and if my first 2 days allow it, and I'm allowed to have a punt at this stage in the week. That would be my pick there. So just before I let you go, Luke, I really appreciate you taking the time to join me here. You've been a terrific replacement. Might get you on full time now.
I don't know if we'll replace him now.
Just before I let you go,
Bridge wins there, so we'll all be laughing.
That's it. Before I let you go, do you have a nap for maybe day 1 or day 2, or am I putting you on the spot there too much?
Nap for day 1. Weldon that maiden, truth be told, I'd say.
Okay. Even money. We'll keep it. Winner's a winner, but that's okay.
Winner's a winner. What else was running on day 1? Actually, no, I'll go Avatar Jet. In that
Avatar Jet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's day 1, is it?
Yeah. That's the second last race, I think. Be the one that I like thinking, isn't it? Or no, I don't think it is actually. One sec. Avatar Jet is in the Avatar Jet, is it the 640? It's the 640. 640 Avatar Jet. 640. On Monday.
On Tuesday, sure, we'll go swinging Casanova
on Tuesday. So for myself, it'll be the 7:45 at Galway on the Monday. We will be going with Castle Heath on the Tuesday, which is definitely, as I said, in my opinion, that little bit more difficult. Oh God, who do I like on the Tuesday? That's the big question. I wouldn't go Casanova because it's in your race. I do like that mare though. Yeah, well, I'd probably keep it. I'll probably keep it simple. I'll go to Company Sergeant. I think if he finds his Ferry House form, he'd be difficult to beat in that beginner's chase. It's the second race, I think, on the card. The beginner's chase, 5:25 on Tuesday. Right, guys, thank you very, very much for listening. Just don't forget to keep liking, share, and subscribe and comment as well. If you see Luke and he's not working down in Galway, do buy him a pint, especially if he's tipped you a few winners. And I'm sure hopefully he might be able to join me later in the week to maybe get a pot or two if his time allows. I won't be bugging him too much though. But thank you very much, guys. All the best, and we will speak to you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you.